PWCC is a great way to sell your sports cards. If you're looking for a way to support the Cajun Cardboard YouTube channel, consider using the promo code Cajun, all caps, CAJUN, when you're selling your cards on the PWCC marketplace. Hey guys, Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana, and I have a guest today. He's a legend. He's an OG. He's one of my best friends in the hobby, and we collect in a very similar way, albeit on very different levels. I got the great Josh Dawson back at Northeast Sports Cards. Josh, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Josh, this is maybe the most excited I've ever been to do a video. It's the first real episode where we're going to kind of talk through this MJ hierarchy, that this project that popped in my brain that you've helped me with, and you've put hours and hours of time helping me get straight. The way I stumbled into this project, Josh, just to give everybody a background, and I released a little intro video. If you missed it, go back and watch it. It released on July 5th, day after 4th of July. The way I stumbled on this, and I thought about this, Josh, was, in that MJ group, we keep getting that one picture passed around, and it's like maybe 40 MJ cards, or maybe it's 25. I don't even remember. But I remember when the guys in the group saw that picture, everybody's like, well, that doesn't belong. This doesn't go here. This should be higher, and this is better than this, or this doesn't even, it shouldn't even be in the conversation. And I was like, that's fun to talk about. And it's, first of all, it's awesome to look at because you're looking at some of the best Jordan cards in the world all in one place. That's really cool to me. And then, it was fun to listen to all the guys chip in about why they agree or disagree or where this should go and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? What if instead of one picture, what if we had like 348 cards or something crazy, so where it's not just the best of the best, right? It's where mere mortals can get together and say, no, I think Warp Speed belongs here, and Soaring Stars is that. You don't forget about, the 1989 Flair sticker and stuff like that. So that's kind of how we got here. And I think when I first reached out to you and Frankie, Josh, I was like, I think I'm going to do 3 tiers. I think I'm going to do like almost 100 cards or something like that. And then it just exploded. All
X, Y, and Z, right?
And we got to where now we have 12 pictures of 29 cards. I did the math, and I think it's like 348 or something like that. So let's just do this. Let's just share it. We're only talking about tier 1 today. So these are going to be, in my opinion, and you've chimed in, and we may not be on the exact same page with all of these, and that's expected, but we're pretty close on this tier 1 picture. We're talking about 29 of the greatest Jordan cards in the world. And we're going to talk through it, talk about the ones that you own, talk about the ones that I own, talk about the ones we wish we owned, which is all the rest of them, and how they got here and why we decided on these cards, and talk a little bit about the history of the cards, maybe tell some stories, and just talk about some big-time cards today. And we're going to do this at least – I don't mean to speak for you, but I'm trying to get you on here maybe 12 times to talk about 12 different pictures of 29 cards. So this is going to be something, Josh, this is going to go way past the National. We're going to get to hang out a lot at the National, which I'm excited about. I haven't seen you since Atlantic City, but we're going to this is going to go well into August and maybe even to September. And I'm going to have some of the other guys on too, because I'm sure everybody's got an opinion. Let's just share it. Here we go. So this is it. This is tier 1. And it's 29 cards. And like I said, I did a little intro last Wednesday. But the reason I have you on here is because you know 100 times more about this than I do. So I'm just the purveyor of information. I'm a conduit bringing pictures of cards to the world. And we're going to use you and your expertise to kind of talk through some of these and just answer some questions that people might have. This would have been a fun live stream to do, but I'm too dumb to know how to do that. I'm not there yet, but one day we will be. Does anything, let's just start from the jump. I jotted down some questions about how we want to attack this thing, Josh. Let's just start this way. There's 29 cards on your, I'm sorry, I said 29. I keep saying 29. It's 27 cards, 3 rows of 9. There's 27 cards on your screen. How many of the 27 do you have in your collection?
Honestly, I haven't done that yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Okay.
11.
Okay.
Yep. So missing quite a few, missing a lot of them, a lot of the big boys.
That's right. But look, just to let the people know at home, those 11 cards, I'm going to go out on a limb because I think I've got 7, Josh, of the 27. the 11 cards, that's 7 figures worth of cards. So we're talking about some of the most important Jordan cards in the world, and all of these cards have one name. Like if you said the Rubies, or you said the 101, or you said the 57, or you said the Gold PMG, everybody knows just by saying one word what card you're talking about. So all of these cards are legendary types of cards. You got any stories about any of them? Which one was the first one on this picture right here that you acquired when you first started collecting Jordan? What's the very first one you acquired? And I know you're going to make all of us want to cry when you tell us how much you paid, because you didn't take 2 decades off like I did. You've been collecting, so you probably picked it up close to release.
So a lot of these I picked up actually in the either very late 90s or early 2000s, right? But I think the first one obviously is the rookie. I picked up the rookie first. Out of any of the inserts, that was one of the cards I had to scrape together money for, borrow money from mom and dad kind of thing, right? It was a PSA 9. I remember buying it from Dave and Adams at the National. It was $1,000. I couldn't afford it. I had $800 and had to borrow the rest. But I bought my PSA 9 for $1,000, and I was ecstatic to have a Michael Jordan rookie. So
that's awesome. Well,
yeah. So that's the first one I picked up. It's obviously I can tell you the last one I picked up because it was just in December. Not to skip anymore, but December of 22, I just picked up the one on the top right, the embossed gold refractor.
Okay, so we share something in common. I've also got the embossed refractor, and this, of course, is the embossed refractor. It's die cut, serial number to 74, a big-time Jordan card, 97 finest. Is that right? 97 finest.
Yep. 97.
Going back to your Flair pickup, and this you led me right into this. This is like a perfect segue. When we decided, Josh, and I talked to you and Frankie via text message or Instagram message, I was like, I don't want this to be a list of the most expensive Jordan cards. Anybody and everybody can go out there and just go to Card Ladder and just type in Michael Jordan and sort by price and come up with those types of numbers. I wanted this to factor in the cards that were not just the most valuable, not just the most rare, and a lot of these happen to be the most rare, but also the cards that are most in demand, Josh. And so that's how the 86 Flair and the Star 101, right in the middle from 1984 Star, that's how those cards sneak into this tier, is that the demand, I personally think the demand for those two cards, as far as the number of people that A, can attain them, and B, want to attain them, kind of brings those into tier 1, where a lot of the other cards are in here strictly because of scarcity, value, Grail level, Sasquatch type stuff that you only see when you're talking about Nat Turner and some of the other collectors out there in the world, when you're talking about the essential credentials now and the PMG green and crazy and the hoop starting 5 and the crazy stuff like that. The Flair and the Star stand out. They're different. Do you agree with me on that? Like they're in here for a completely different reason.
No, I think the intention of this, right, was to put in the most rare inserts at the top of the pyramid, right, on tier 1, and have the, as you said, scarcity, right? The ones that are the hardest to find. You won't see all these cards at the National, no matter what. You can go to every booth, every single where. You won't see half of these cards, right? Even one example, even if it's not for sale. I think the 86 Flair obviously is attainable, not necessarily price-wise, but you see it. You'll see tons of them at the National.
I can get one now while we're doing this video. I could go buy one on eBay while we're talking right now. Yes.
Right. And even in a 10, right? And then the 84 Star is kind of the same way. It's not because of scarcity, it's because it's iconic. And it's because it's a rookie. And there's a whole debate about which one's is rookie, right? Won't get into that. But those are rookie cards. Those are iconic. Those cannot be, those are kind of the one-offs from all the rest of the inserts in the pyramid. Those are the base cards that made it. Other than that, base cards are not in this whole project, right?
Yeah, we made a rule, and I kind of talked through these rules with you, and you kind of asked questions about it, and we kind of concluded on what the rules were. And I don't have them pulled up, but I list the rules in detail, and we kind of talked through them. The most important rule to remember here is this is not the most valuable cards in the world. And because as you see, do you see a single grade label? No, there's not one grade label, right? So we're not ranking all of these cards by value. You could go get a PSA authentic Jordan for a very reasonable price right now. I say Jordan Flair rookie card, right? And so it is unlike the others. The other most important rule, and I want to reiterate this, is that everything you see on your screen right now in this tier, these are not in any particular order. It's not best to worst. It's not row one's better than row two. It's not left to right. It's just the 27 cards, right? It's just the 27 cards. And the reason I did that is I didn't want the people, the end users of what I think could be a really helpful guide to collecting Jordan cards. I didn't want the end users to get too hyper focused on number 37 versus number 38 or stuff like that. Let's put them in pools, and we can argue about whether tier 2 belongs in tier 1 or something like that. But let's not argue within those tiers about which one trumps which one, because that's really not what the purpose of this hierarchy is. It's not for you to rank them 1 through 348 or whatever the number is. It's just to kind of get an idea and then take stock of your collection. And in fact, that's why I named the first video that came out on Wednesday, July 5th. I named it Measure Your Jordan Collection. This is going to be a great way. When we get through this and we get through all these tiers, Josh, I'm excited about it. I haven't done it yet, right? I'm going to go put red X's on all the cards that I have. And I'm going to use this as almost like a checklist, almost like, the 86 Flair checklist. People were checking off the cards as they try to get them. I'm going to use this as a checklist. And I don't mean to spoil it, but I'm going to put all of this together in a nice poster board, and I'm going to brand it with some of my new brand partners for the channel, and I'm going to disseminate it. I wanted to get it done for the national. I'm probably not, but I will make sure that it gets available to people in like written form. And we kind of talked about that, and people can put it on their wall. Boom, you can check them off. You put little white X's or white tape over the ones that you have, and work your way through it and use it almost like a guide. So I think that's going to be really fun. It's not going to be fun for you because you're going to have like all but like 15 out of the 350. but for me, I'm not even remotely 1/3 of the way there. So I'm going to have a long way to go. And I hope that, this is going to be well received by new Jordan collectors or people like me 2 years ago who were just starting to dip their toes in the water of the 1990s insert and parallel Michael Jordan collecting world. Maybe you were too scared to do it, but now you've got a visual aid. You can look, you can figure out, I like this card. What's it called? And by the way, I should mention, Josh, you and I, we're going to put together a spreadsheet that accompanies this. So if you see a card and you like it, you go look up tier 4, row 3, card number 6. That's what it's called. Boom. Go to eBay, search, look for it, buy it if you like it, and rinse and repeat, man.
Yeah.
Which one's your favorite?
My favorite is definitely not the most valuable. It's the third card in the second row. It is the Ultra Stars Gold, 97
Gotcha.
Ultra Stars Gold. It just checks all the boxes for me. I wish it was numbered, but other than that, it's embossed in hand. You can't get a prettier card.
Yep.
It's kind of cracked ice, but better. I like the image. I like the aesthetics to it. That's all it boils down to is aesthetics. So
it's a big time card. Let me back out of here because I've got it pulled up as I promised. So this is just showing you the tier 1, the Ultra Stars Gold's row 2, card number 3. There it is, the Ultra Stars Gold from 1997. It is embossed. It's badass. I probably could write the word embossed on here, but people just call it the USG, right? And we know what they're talking about. It's one of only 6 cards that's not numbered out of the first 27, right? So 21 out of the 27 are numbered. This is one of the ones that's not numbered. And just because it's not numbered does not mean it's not rare. The damn card's rare. But believe it or not, the card grades really well, does it not, Josh? I think it grades actually really well.
It's fair. I think it's still pretty low pop. I don't know if you have that data.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up right here on Card Ladder, handy dandy Card Ladder. Let's see. Let's open it up here. Let's look at this. So it's been graded, oh my gosh, a whopping 86 times ever by PSA and Beckett, never by SGC. There's 5 PSA 10s. There's 18 BGS 9.5s. The gem rate for Beckett's pretty high by 90s Jordan standards, right?
Yeah,
36.5. 18's a good chunk. 18's a good number. But and let's go back and look at the prices. So you're talking about one that's not serial numbered. If for a 9.5 just sold in January for $43,000, you're looking at probably a $40,000 card, right? And we've seen a bunch of them sell not too recently. I say a bunch. Like of the 18 9.5, 7 of them have sold in the last 2 years. That's something that we're constantly talking about with all of these higher end Jordan collectors, is that we got to wait for the faucet to turn off. If you don't turn off the faucet, look at the trend line. You're talking about one of the greatest Jordan cards in the world, a card that you and I think is one of the 27 best Jordan cards in the world, right?
Yep.
And look at the trend line, down 55% over the last 2 years. And there's one reason. It's this number right here. It's sold 7 times. Yep. 7 out of the 18. And again, some of them could be the same card selling more than once. 7 out of 18 sold over the last 24 months. That's nuts. That's a Ultra Stars Gold selling every 3 months. That's silly.
Yeah, and I know somebody was hoarding those, and a lot of them came to market. I don't think the same is true in PSA.
Yeah,
but there's also a lot fewer gems in PSA.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you my favorite card on this, Josh, just to let the cat out of the bag, is one that I do not own, and it is this one right here. It's a 1998 PMG. Some people call it the gold PMG, but I think technically it's supposed to just be called the PMG. But for those of you who don't know, I don't want to. This is getting ridiculous. This is why I invited you on the channel, because you can give us a much better view of the card because you're holding the damn thing. What is that? 8.5?
8.5, yeah.
It's nasty. It's nasty. Yeah. So I'm about to ask you the question of which of the cards that you don't have would be the next one on your list that you would want to pick up. My next Grail, like true Grail, monster Grail, would be the 98 PMG. This would be the next one that I would want to pick up. And again, just keep in mind, we're not including any of the one-on-one masterpieces. I mentioned that on the Wednesday video. We don't have any of the Jordan one-of-ones from the 90s in here. Okay, we're only including cards up to 1999. We're not talking about any base cards. We're not talking about one-of-ones. We're not talking about autograph cards. We're not talking about game used cards or game used and autograph cards. We're not talking about any of that stuff. This is just inserts and parallels from the starting at 84 up through 1999. No North Carolina stuff, no Wizard stuff. I should just say this. We don't talk about the PMG green very much because I don't know how you feel about that card. For me, I feel like that card is unattainable. If somebody offered you the PMG green for, those 11 cards that you said you had out of these 27, and then however much else cash you needed, would you trade those 11 for the one green? I wouldn't either. And that's how we collect, right? And we know other people with fascinating collections who would in a heartbeat trade those 11 cards for that PMG green and whatever cash they needed to make it all work out. And I would never do that. I would never, ever do that. In fact, I mean, you can say it about any of these, the essential credentials. I need that card. I don't have it. I love it. I would love to have it. I would never trade my PSA 10 86 Flair Jordan and then another one of these Showcase Legacy collections just to get that one card. I just wouldn't do it because I feel like I'm going backwards, right? I'm trying to add to it. And that does slow down the process, right? And maybe that's why, you have 11 instead of, 26. That might be why. I don't know. And that and your Griffies and everything else that you collect. But for me, I'm not going to choose quality over quantity. I want quality and quantity. And that just means you got to take a slower route, Josh. That's all that it means.
Yeah. My biggest problem is I don't want to trade a Grail to get a Grail, right? And I have that opportunity literally in front of me right now with one of these cards that I don't own, the PMG Champ on the top row. I do not own that card. I want that card. It's probably my second biggest card I want. I just don't want to give up my Jambalaya and other big cards in high grades to acquire one card because I'll give up 3 from this list to get that one. And if you're not trading cards and you're not getting rid of stuff and you're not selling, that means you're coming out of pocket.
Yeah.
And that's the big problem, right? So that's where it's if you had $2 million sitting in your wallet, then it's easier to do, right? You can find
slightly,
just sold,
we're not dentists. We're not dentists as far as I know. Not yet. Not yet. I'm thinking about going back to dental school, but I'm not in dental school yet.
Right. So I think that's what that's where I don't want to trade 3 Grails for 1 Grail. Kind of to your point with the PMG green. I think the PMG green and the credentials now green. By the way, that's the only card I've never seen in person in hand. I know Nat has one. I've never actually, out of all the cards, I've seen the PMG green in person 3 different times. I've never seen the essential credentials.
I haven't either.
9. Obviously, both those cards are numbered to 9.
Yeah.
Not really, but the PMG.
Here we go. Let's talk. All right. Now we got some stories. Tell me the story about the PMG green and why it's there's 9 of them, despite the fact that theoretically at one point there were 10 manufactured.
Well, there's 10, and one of them got destroyed, right? On video even, and And because that got destroyed, obviously it only leaves 9 copies in existence. Most of those are overseas or documented overseas. So those are in Asia, and they're not going to be sold anytime soon.
One collector has 3, does he not?
Yes.
Yeah. And then Nat has 1.
Yeah, and to be honest, I know the PMG is the highest of the high. It's the biggest card on this entire sheet. Because I've never seen it, because I think it's just as rare, I would as easily take the eccentric credentials now.
Yeah. Yeah. And Josh is talking about these 2 cards that look alike. One of them's numbered to 72, correct, Josh? The one on the right, that's the Essential Credentials Future. The one on the left is the Essential Credentials Now. These 2 cards are part of an 81 card set. And in that 81 card set, all of the players' serial numbers add up to 81. So card number 40 is 40 and 41 between the futures and the now. Card number 80 is also card number 1 because it adds up. Sorry, it's 80 cards, right? Is that right? 80 cards. Card number 80 is also serial number to 1. So you're talking about Grant Hill and Ron Mercer, right?
It's 81. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 72 and 9. Yep.
Yeah. And so 72 and 9 for Jordan. So this card over here makes the list because it's a preposterous, paltry serial number to 72. There's just only so many Jordan cards, serial number to less than 100 from the 90s in the world. This makes the list. The one to the left of it, like Josh is saying, is this Sasquatch as Sasquatch gets. It's serial number to 9 because 9 and 72 add up to 81. And so there's your simple Cajun math. Tell me this, Josh. I got some more questions written down. What?
Yeah, sorry. Just going back to your last question. The one on my list that's my number 1 chase is the 98, what I call gold rubies.
Okay.
The 98 gold rubies in row 2 there. Yep. That's the number 1 card I want, followed by the PMG champ. So that card, I have found it. I have seen it for sale. It is multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars. And like I said, without giving away all the other cards on the list, it's almost impossible to attain.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's fantastic. Tell me this is a tough question. I wrote this question down and I think I know the answer. And honest to God, I don't even think it's close. Which of these cards do you think has the most demand? And by demand, I mean in any grade. I mean, which of these cards do you think is the card that more collectors are focused on trying to acquire than any other?
PMG Green. PMG Green followed.
I think it's the 86 Flair. I think it's 86 Flair. I think if you ask,
regardless of grade,
regardless of grade. And the reason I say that, Josh, is because there's only one card on this picture that, the average collector can go after in a low grade, in any grade. And it's the 86 Flair. And for that reason, I'm trying to think of a good analogy. It's like, the average person yearns, to one day own a Mercedes or a BMW. They don't yearn to own, a Bugatti. What I'm saying? Right?
Yeah,
they don't yearn for the 800 or the $1.5 million vehicle. They yearn for the $60,000 BMW. It's still it's an incredible, beautiful car, right?
It's the best realistic Grail card.
That's my point. And that's why it's so tough to correlate and kind of aggregate and then come up with a logical way to frame these. And I'm going to get some feedback, right? Don't shoot the messenger. I'm going to get some feedback like you're an idiot if you think the 86 Flair card belongs in this picture. And it's just impossible to merge demand, scarcity, value, and aesthetics. There's no right answer. You can't tell me that a card is not aesthetically beautiful or that it is aesthetically beautiful. Everybody's going to have their own opinion on that. Value, of course, we can look it up on Card Ladder, thanks to Josh, Chris, Christina. Scarcity, we can look at the serial number. We can look at the pack odds. And by the way, going back to our little sheet, when we get done with this, Josh, there's going to be, I think, did I say it's 348, right? Somebody do the math. 12 pictures of 27 cards. I think that's right. 12 times 27. That can't be right. Long story short, every single card is either going to have a serial number or it's going to have pack odds. On here, you're not going to see any pack odds. I haven't added those yet, but I am going to add pack odds and serial number. And everybody is going to have every single card in every one of these pictures. And this is going to become the new, and I'm going to put it all together. And I don't know how to do websites, but I'll put it on my channel or something. It's going to be the new biggest, best, and baddest pack odds list in the world because you and I shared a pack odds list. Man, look, That pack odds list is really good, Josh, but there is about 150 that are missing. So we're going to add to it. We're going to create the greatest pack odds list that's ever been created for Michael Jordan cards. Hopefully it's going to be a
work that out for us.
Yeah, I've been grinding. Look, I'm telling you, like in the past 3 days, I've probably spent 14 to 15 hours just creating what you see on your screen right here for the first 3 tiers, and I'm started into tier 4. And the pack odds are what takes forever because you got to go either through Beckett or the odds, the pack odds list. But at some point when the card gets too obscure, they're not on that list. That's really only the high end stuff. And then I use Trading Card Database, and so that's helping as well. But which card do you like the most aesthetically? Like if you had to pick one, throwing out, and again, you might be biased because you own some of these cards, but which one do you think is the best looking card from an aesthetics? Is it Ultra Stars Gold? Is that why you chose that one?
It is for me. It's Ultra Stars Gold, but outside of that, I really like the 97 Team Skybox aesthetically. Yeah.
It's awesome, man. Isn't that the cheapest of the Star Rubies? Is that the cheapest one?
Yeah, that's the cheapest one for sure. I remember getting that it was a raw copy, and they were getting it graded, and we came to an agreement. If it came back a 6, we're going to pay this. Came back a 7, it's going to pay this, and we put it into BGS, and at the time BGS, I think it's a 8 or 8.5. It came back, and I paid up a little bit because of the grade, but yeah, that card just shines in person.
Do you have it in hand? What else you got in hand?
I do, but that the one next to it is obviously another big one too.
Here, let's do that. God,
yeah, so
it looks look, Josh. At some angles it looks white, and at some angles you see the blue. Like the one on my screen over here. Right? Look at this. On my screen, it looks as blue gets. Period. But when you hold it, it shimmers, and it sort of changes from white to blue,
and red and yellow. I mean, it's like a rainbow.
You're right. That is freaking awesome.
So it's like a rainbow. It's numbered to 50. I just, I think aesthetically, like that card's a great looking card. And the other Star Rubies is very tough to see. This card is so hard to capture the color. So this one, it's really hard to see the rainbow in it because it's so dark. But, again, it's a beautiful card. It's just, I would go with the Team Skybox as far as aesthetics. So
you're 1 Star Rubies away from having the triplicate. You're having all 3 of them.
Yeah, I need the rubies. Yeah, that's why I want that 98 rubies. That's the number one.
Get it. We got to get it. We got to get it. We got to get it for you in Chicago, man.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Okay, let's say what else? Which card on here is the rarest? Let's talk through that for the people, right? And so you've got we know the green PMG is 10, but 9, right? We know the essential credentials now is 9.
Yeah.
And the one card that nobody's mentioned, that you haven't mentioned, that we haven't talked about, because I think it's the weakest aesthetically, personally. That's just me. And I'm not going to sit here and disparage a card that's multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars, but it's the card in the bottom right sneaking in the list, right? Yeah. This is the Hoops starting 5, and it is serial number to only 5. And as far as I know, other than the masterpieces, Josh, is this not the lowest serial number Jordan card from the 90s?
It is. Yeah, my problem with the card is not aesthetics, really, although it does look like a base card, but it has the stamp on it.
Yeah.
My issue with that card, if you can find a real copy, it's about as rare as you can get.
Yep.
My issue with it is there are a lot of fakes and a lot of reproductions that have been graded by different grading companies, and that scares me. I did have that copy. I had that card graded, and I just didn't trust the fact that it was real after doing enough research and talking to enough people that know better than I do.
Yeah.
And I just decided to let it go.
It's one I'm not going after, Josh, for the exact same reason. I don't know. Look, when the intelligent people that are in our group chat can't agree on whether one's real or not, I'm out. Like, if you don't know if it's real or not, I'm out, dude. Here's the other thing.
That's the only reason I would sell anything off of the top 27. That's the only reason I sold it.
Yeah. So tell me this. I'm going to take you through a hypothetical, right? What year is that card?
98.
Okay. So we got a 1998 Hoops, NBA Hoops starting 5, serial number to 5, right? Going back to it. There's our card. Bottom right, white border. You can't miss it. That card looks so close to the damn base card. Is it not conceivable that some of them might have been open from a pack, which was how much, Josh, back then? How much do you think a 98 Hoops pack was? $1, $3, $2, whatever. Somebody could rip 500 of those packs in a day, pull a Jordan, look at it, think it's a base card because it's real easy. The only way to tell is up here. It says starting 5. Nothing on the back, right?
No.
That is the serial number stamp right there, and it's hard to see, and I'm sorry I can't get a better image. What's that?
Are you sharing the pictures?
Oh, shoot. You're right. That's why I got you here, dude. Okay, there you go. So there it is. So this is the card we're talking about right here. So top left corner, that is the serial number stamp, and it's hard to tell because, I just can't zoom in quite enough. But it's quite conceivable that somebody's ripping, 100 of these packs a day, 500 of these packs a day. It's $1 each. And as they're going through it, they see a Jordan, they think it's a base card, and they flip it to the side. It goes in a white box and never to be seen again.
Yeah.
All
and
the other cards.
Starting 5 and then 3 of 5 or 5 of 5.
Yeah.
And I just, like I said, I had a copy. It was authenticated, but after doing a little bit more research, I wasn't comfortable with it. So it was something I decided to part with.
Yeah.
So the other one that came out of a cheap box, although it's a monster card, is the Collector's Choice Star Quest.
Yeah.
That card, because it came out of Collector's Choice, that was a very inexpensive product. Boxes cost $12. It was just really inexpensive back then. And, you didn't expect a Grail type card that would show up on this list at the top of the pyramid to come out of a product
out of that, right? Same thing with the Hoop Starting 5. So the funny thing is, I've got the Star Quest blue, I've got the Star Quest red, I've got the Star Quest green, and you go from $40, $80, $145 to $100,000. So it's a serious shock factor right there. You know what I mean? It's not quite the same as the Star Power Plus, and Star Power Supreme. You're getting to the Ferrari range to get the Star Quest Gold, and it is funny that it comes out of a pack like that. Of course, that one's serial number to 50, and the PSA 10 just sold, which I think
100. Number to 100.
That card was, you can put a 10 on the label, but it was. I mean, I didn't think it looked like a 10. Again, that's a great card. I'd love to have, but I would rather go try to find the 6.5 or the 7 or the BGS 8 than I would pay the premium for the PSA 10. Because I personally thought it was too off center to be a PSA 10. Do you remember that card when that card just recently sold?
Very well. Yeah, I didn't agree with the as they always say, by the card, not the grade, right? And that one didn't deserve a 10. It's numbered to 100, so it's twice as.
Oh, I said 50. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
But aesthetically, again, I've never owned that card. I don't know if I'll ever own that card. But if I had a chance, obviously I would consider it, but I'd pick the one to the left of it. I still want that credentials proof even more.
For sure.
So,
yeah. The only let's talk about some of these others that we haven't talked about. Of course, we've got the first 4 are all PMGs, right? Those are all precious metal gems, 97, 97, 97 championship, 98. We haven't talked about the Molten Metal Fusion Titanium, serial number to 40. If you keep watching these videos, we're going to do other videos of other cards and a little bit further down, and maybe in tier 2, you're going to see a glimpse of the Molten Metal Fusion normal, not titanium, serial number to 250, right? We've got the 2 essential credentials, 9 and 72 that we talked about, the Star Quest Gold number to 100, the Golden Boss Refractor here, die cut, serial number to only 74. The Playmakers Theater we haven't talked about, serial number to 100, correct?
Yep.
Serial number 100. This is a card that repeatedly people are like, it's ugly, it's ugly, it's ugly. Then they get it in hand and they go nuts. And they're like, you just wouldn't believe it until you have it in your hand. Is this one embossed as well, Josh?
It is, yeah. So this one's embossed.
There it is.
Yeah, I got a big one because I got the good grade on this
one.
Oh,
my God. Does that have a 10 on it?
Yeah. So
break the internet.
Embossed. The other versions are not embossed, but they're also not serial numbered at the bottom right here. Yeah. So the non-embossed, non-serial numbered are kind of backdoor copies. This one is, one of the regular pack pulled.
And that's something that we need to talk about. When, anybody watching this who doesn't have one of these types of cards or one of these top 27 cards, who's looking at buying one of these top 27 cards, there are what Josh called backdoor copies, or I know for sure in Legacy Collection, there is a million fakes out there, and some of them are not serial numbered at all, which we know distinguish between if a card's supposed to be serial numbered and it's not serial numbered, that should raise a red flag, obviously. But the scarier thing, Josh, and we see this all the time where people are like, is this real or fake, is Legacy Collection, the Flair Showcase Legacy Collection. I'm talking about these 7 cards at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Am I not sharing? I'm not sharing. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are all Flair Showcase Legacy Collection, different rows, but all of them are serial numbered either to 100 or 150 from 96 or 97. Some of those cards, Josh, have, there's fakes. Fakes are abundant on those 7 cards, are they not?
They are. I own one of those cards, and I think it's the second one in. But other than that, yeah, it's, again, for me, and this is just me, one man's opinion, I don't find it as aesthetically, as beautiful as maybe some of the other ones on the list. That's why they have maybe the rubies, but they shine, they're beautiful. They just have that blue numbering on the back, and they have the blue legacy on the front. And the problem with this card also, and not any particular one, but I know that a couple different grading companies have seen this card where a regular version is labeled as a legacy and vice versa.
Yes.
That is throwing off pop reports a bit. So it's really hard to tell exactly what the pop counts are in different grades for these legacy collections.
And this is what we were talking about. You see that, and I've got two of the legacy collections, so I'm twice as the collector that you are. But these legacy collections, what we're talking about is, the shape of the numerator serial number, the distance between the digits, the distance from the numerator to the word of. Like, there's all kinds of weird stuff. Here's the deal: when I picked these 2 up, I did not even consider snatching these 2 cards without at least checking with 4 or 5 of you guys to take a look and say, hey, I need eyes on this. I'm asking for help. That's one thing whenever you're picking up serial number cards from the 90s, even whether it's Jordan's obviously the most fake, but I'd be careful picking up Kobe's as well. I'd be careful picking up Iverson's, Duncan's, all that stuff. I'd be careful on all that stuff. Definitely don't feel ashamed. Reach out to me. I'm never going to say, oh, it looks good. I'm never going to do that, but I can put you in touch with somebody who will, right? Yeah. Just like I can't tell you about all these cards because I've never held half of them in hand, but I can certainly put you in touch with people who have. So I'm just sort of the middle guy in this whole scenario. Another card we haven't talked about on Tier 1 yet, Josh, in the bottom left is the card that I'm getting next, period. You heard it here first. I'm calling my shot like Babe Ruth. I am not walking out of the National without a 9.5 copy of that card. I don't want a 9. I don't want a PSA 9. I don't want a PSA 10. I want a BGS 9.5. That's the card that I want for the Jambalaya die cut in the bottom left, and I'm not leaving there without it. You can't be from Louisiana, call yourself Cajun Cardboard, and not have a Jambalaya, right? Of course, the food is called Jambalaya. And I know this is going to sound very cliche, but suburb of Baton Rouge, where I live in Baton Rouge. A suburb of Baton Rouge, Gonzales, is technically the jambalaya capital of the world. There's a big sign right when you get into town. So I live right near the jambalaya capital of the world. So I've got to have a jambalaya.
That's right.
Michael Jordan.
That's right.
So
that was one of my early pickups as well. And I got to tell you that card, when you just say 90s Michael Jordan inserts, it's probably one of the top ones you'll see. Before PMGs, before Rubies, people just think, that's a very iconic card out of all of them.
Yeah, and that's the first time I ever heard the word lenticular, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. So they're like, look at this card, look at the hot numbers. That's lenticular. I was like, oh, you mean Sportflix? You mean Sportflix? That's what that's called, right? Just to keep talking through it, Josh. Second row, the Playmakers Theater. We talked about the 2 Jordan rookie cards, the Star and the 86 Fleer. The Ultra Stars Gold, which we both talked about, the Golden Boss, the Slam Bams we haven't talked about. There's 2, right? There's the Bams, and then there's the Slam Bams. This is the Slam Bams, serial numbered also to 100. Yes, serial number to 100 there as well. Where did I put? I wanted to make sure I got StarQuest Gold. Where did I put StarQuest Gold? Yeah, serial number to 100. Okay, I don't know why I was thinking 50. I was getting the StarQuest Gold confused with the Grand Finale, which we'll talk about in a second. The Slam Bams. Do you have a Slam Bams?
I do.
Okay, let's see it. Let's see it.
So it's very shiny, right? It says Slam both at the top left and the bottom right. If we can see it in the picture there.
I see it down there in the bottom right now. You can barely see it on my screen. Yeah, but it's very easy to see on yours.
Down there. Yep. So it does say Slam both in both corners up here
Yeah.
and down here.
And bottom right. Josh, is that card, is it, other than the word slam, that foil slam that's printed on there, does the BAMs look the exact same, or is it different color?
I just picked up a BAMS at the Mint Collective this year. It is a lot more silver. This is a lot more gold.
Yeah.
So this is a lot more gold in color, with the gold writing that says slam. The other one is much more silver, and it's numbered obviously higher. But the BAMS, even the regular BAMS card, is quite a valuable card, and rarely seen. So
yeah, well,
that was something I just picked up this year. So
yeah,
I think that's numbered to 500. I'm not really sure, but
any Jordan serial number card from the 90s is okay by me, dude. We can put them all in the collection gladly. We can shove it in the PWCC vault and look at it all day long. We've got the 3 rubies in a row that we talked about. These are the star rubies, right? All serial numbered to 50 from Skybox Premium. And then this interesting little guy over here is what's that? Oh, I'm not sharing it. God, I'm terrible. Okay. We got the 3-star rubies right here. Right next to it, we got the grand finale. And this is the SPX grand finale. This card I can help you with here because I've got this bad boy right here. And it is mine's a PSA 9 copy. There's only one PSA 10 out there. But I wanted to show you on the back, you can see a couple of Jordan cards are like this, right? Diamond Dimensions is another one that comes to mind where the numerator is handwritten in with a Sharpie, and then the denominator is pre-printed onto the card. So this is kind of cool with Jordan getting the jumper off over the great Jonas Ilgauskas. Yeah, oh, there you go. Okay.
But no, mine's number 31 of 50.
You're 31 and mine's 20. And is yours in black ink? Yeah, I guess they're all probably in black ink.
Yeah. So this is a tough card just because it chips so easily. And this is one I'm actually very likely to not ever get rid of. I do have the PSA 10 that you mentioned. So that's a pop one.
Do you have 2 of them?
No.
Oh, I thought you just showed me a 9 too. Okay, yeah. So we just need to do a trade then. We just need to do a trade.
That's right.
Here, let's knock out the rest of the ones that I actually have on the list. Of course, I've got the Jordan 86 Flair 10. You've got a Jordan 86 Flair 10. I was blessed by the PWCC gods with an A sticker, which kind of distinguishes mine a little bit. Regardless of what you think about the stickers, it helps. And then the PMG Red that's the pride and joy of my collection. So that's my personal favorite card. I do have the Championship PMG as well, but this is the one that means the most because, it just means the most. I just think this is one of the most unique Jordan cards out there because it's kind of like, the green is just unattainable. And so this is as close as you can get to it is the way that I look at it.
And that's something incredibly high grade for that card. Incredible.
Yeah, it's not bad. Now, look, here's the deal. I'm going to be the first one to tell you mine is overgraded, okay? Because I saw an 8 sell recently, and I was like, wow, that 8 looks a lot better than my 8. But look, it is what it is. I mean, I'll take it if it was a BGS 1. It doesn't matter to me. I wanted to make sure it was real. I wanted to make sure there was no concern about real fake. And once I got the green light, I rolled with it. It's card number 73 out of 100. So that's number 2 for me. The Championship PMG, which you're still looking for. Happy to pick this one up in a big bulk acquisition of a little miniature collection back maybe 2021. And look, here's the deal. Like I picked this one up at the absolute peak of the market, absolute crazy peak of the market. And this card has held its value from what I picked it up at. In fact, the last one that sold for, I think, more than what I picked this one up for. And I think it was a BGS 8. Is there a little bit of a premium on a PSA versus a BGS for all of these cards that we're talking about on tier 1, Josh?
Yeah, secondary market for PSA is definitely higher than BGS in the same grade.
Yeah.
Some listen, the motto is, beggars can't be choosers, right? So I'd be happy with any of these cards in any grading company. You can give me as long as it's real, as long as it's authentic. I don't really care about the grade. I'd just be happy owning it. But yeah, as far as secondary market value, I think PSA still is the, clear and cut above of the rest in terms of secondary market value.
Well, the one thing I can tell you from my wild 12-month PMG Red set chase where I was trying to collect the whole set that kind of dominated my whole collecting world for a while is that I crossed a lot of cards over because I wanted the whole set in PSA. I was happy with both, right? I would buy them in both. I was very happy. but I was trying to get it all in that PSA label because it was a red PMG set. It's a red bordered label, and I just thought it looked so damn good. And I was just shuddering and frightened of the thought of trying to somebody crack that BGS 8 out and put it in a PSA slab, and I knew it was going to come back probably a PSA 5 or 6. But the one thing I did learn is I did a lot of crack and crosses, and almost every single one went from, if it was a BGS 9, it was a PSA 7. If it was a BGS 8.5, it was a PSA 5 or 6. Every single one. At no point, and I think I crossed 40 over, Josh, from Beckett to PSA, maybe 35, something like that. Every single one, not one single card crossed from a BGS 8 to a PSA 8 or even a BGS 8.5 to a PSA 8. Never once, never. So every single one dropped about 1.5 to 2 points. So I know for sure on that, right?
And it works both ways. I've had PSA cards for whatever reason needed to go in BGS holders, and they knock it a point to 1 to 2 grades down. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well,
I guess they don't like each other. Nobody wants to admit the other person has a better.
That's right. Wow, this card's way better than PSA thought. I'm gonna give it a BGS 9.5. It doesn't happen. That's it, man. We've kind of talked about all of these cards. We've talked about the scarcest. What's the most valuable? That's easy. It's the PMG green. What's the next most valuable, Josh? I think it's got to be the essential credentials now, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And then after that, what are we looking at? What do you think?
Probably the PMG red.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I didn't think that question through. It's definitely not the bottom row.
No.
That gold star rubies, Josh, I know you're looking at it. It's got to be, is it not 200,000 or more?
It is. It's over 200. Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends
on
in
the conversation for sure.
Yeah. The gold rubies, as I call it, it's not really a gold rubies. But that rubies from '98, that is a rarely seen card, and when it sells, it goes massively high. So
Yep.
But yeah, I think value-wise, that's that molten metal fusion titanium is rarely seen. Although a couple have come up since the market dropped a bit.
Yeah.
But that card, that's probably the most asked about card for me to sell in my collection. People just, big Jordan collectors want that card, and they're hard to find in good grades. So,
well, the serial number to 40 for the molten metal fusion titanium drops you below so many of these cards that are numbered to 50, right? You're talking about 2 of the PMGs that are serial number to 50. So that trumps that. You get lower than the Essential Credentials Future. You get lower than the Star Quest, the die cut Golden Boss, all 3-star rubies, every legacy collection. It puts you in very rarefied air when you've got a serial number to 40 card.
Yeah. And I like the fact that it's die cut out of the card, right? So that's the other thing with this card is the numbering is actually cut out of the card. It's not actually stamped or anything. So
I don't know what to call that. I've been calling it pinhole die cut. I don't know really what to call that.
Yeah, it's very hard to tell, like if you hold it up to the light and stuff, but the whole image of Jordan's face, really hard to see. And
it's hard to see on yours, but you can kind of see it on mine if you kind of zoom in.
Yeah.
This is basically an extremely, extremely, extremely wealthy man's version of the Platinum Portraits. Fair?
Yep.
And serial number to 40. So there you go. That's it. Anything else? If you had to bump one card off and put one card in from tier 2, this is a tough question. It's like kicking one of your kids out of the house and sending them to hit the road. Which of these cards do you think you would bump?
I'd probably go with the starting 5 for 2 different reasons. It would be not only aesthetics. Aesthetics does have a good play into it, but also because of the issue of it being faked a lot. So that's the only one I would probably boot if I had to, although it 100% belongs on this list. I can't put it in what we're calling tier 2.
Yeah.
That card is just so rare when it comes to a legit copy that, it's just a unicorn, as most of these are.
No doubt. I mean, you're almost more likely to have a PMG green in your collection one day than a starting 5. You know what I mean? I know that sounds weird because you're talking about a whole different price level, but it's probably true, right? I mean, if you win the lottery, you could go get a PMG green possibly if somebody was willing because you know where to find them. But a real starting 5, even if you won the lottery, you still got to find a real starting 5. It's kind of weird like that. I agree with you, though. That would be the card that I would bump. And again, wait until you guys see tier 2. Tier 2 is actually going to be more fun because we're going to have more of the cards, Josh. You know, it's more attainable cards, especially if you get down to the lower grades, PSA 7s, 8s, and 9s. You can get, you know, BGS 8.5s. A lot of the cards in tier 2. And the other thing, Josh, is, and I'll just share it now, and I've told people, so tier 2 is actually 54 cards. So it's 2 pictures, and we're going to do 2 separate episodes, and then maybe we'll do another episode at the end to talk about all 54 of them. But you're going to get double the number of cards, so double the talk and double the discussion and double the debate and double the cool pictures. And it's cards that it's easier to get your hands on. Like if you got the cash or you've got the trade value, you can go pick up some tier 2 cards, you know, tonight if you really wanted to. These tier 1 cards, it's tough, man. Some of these cards are tough.
Yeah, it's the tip of the iceberg for sure. I mean, these are, like I said, you and I both think both the greens, the Central Credentials, and the PMG are unattainable. And to be honest, if I never have those 2 cards in my PC, I'm very content, right?
Yeah.
There's 3 I want to add, and if I get those 3 that I'm missing, I don't necessarily need all the legacies, but if I have the pink credentials and the, you know, the champ ticket, you know, the champ PMG, a couple of those, I would be very content not chasing anymore on the tier 1 list.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. There's a lot of different directions. You know, I have over the last, you know, 6 to 12 months, I don't want to say consolidated my collection because I don't have fewer cards, but I sold non-Jordans to buy more Jordans, and and so I've used up all of my fuel. You know what I'm saying? So now I have a nice little war chest built up because I moved a whole bunch of 1986 Flair sets that I had built up, you know, pre-pandemic. And so I did great on those. So I do have some money put to the side, ready to rock and roll, but not this kind of money, like not Essential Credentials Now money or PMG Green money or even Star Ruby's money. But, you know, in tier 2, that money can go a long way. I might be able to pick up 2 or 3 cards in tier 2. So I'm kind of tier 2, tier 3 focused right now, to be honest with you, Josh. And that's the beauty of collecting Jordan cards is, and look, I said this at the outset when I did the other video, is the reason we're going from tier 1 down to tier 4 is because it's going to be more important. Like tier 3 and 4 is more important to more people. It's just like the 86 Flair card, just like my assertion. It's a card that more people want because more people can get it. And so tier 4, I think a lot of those cards are going to be like, yes, that's an awesome card. I forgot about the Never Compromise or Hoop Screams. I forgot about, you know, Warp Speed and stuff like that. And we're going to look at those types of cards, and people are going to watch, and they're going to be like, shit, I got $460. I can go get that card right now on eBay, you know? And so I think for that reason, those videos that we're going to do in the future on the lower tiers are going to be really well received and really helpful, I think. And especially when you pull the spreadsheets in, because people will be able to identify the cards that they see on the screen.
Sure. And I think there's a lot that people may not know exist, right? I think even you found a couple that you didn't know about, right? Through this process. So I think there's a lot of maybe not so rare. Maybe they're, you know, not numbered at all. They're very attainable, $30 to $200. And yet, you know, they're an insert from the 90s that maybe you just didn't know existed.
Yeah. Anybody watching, do me a favor. And again, if we made any mistakes or I made any mistakes, please let us know. But go ahead and you can take a picture of this or screenshot it if you know how to do that on your computer, or just hold your phone sideways and take a nice landscape picture. This corresponds with tier 1. At the end of this project, when we get through this MJ hierarchy, I'll somehow figure out a way to get it out there with a big picture and some stuff like that. I'll figure out a way to get it out there to you guys. But we're going to have the breakdown and the pack odds for every single card where they exist, 1 through whatever I said, 348, I think is the number. So that is going to be super helpful. And I'm hoping to create, you know, Josh and I, to create a tool that can be used by people for years and years and years to come. And then maybe be expanded upon and expounded upon with some additional cards. But 350 is enough for right now. I think it's going to provide
you got plenty of stuff in there, right? And maybe at that point we'll kind of go over the rules too, because people will see a card that's missing. We'll explain why it's missing. There's a reason.
And I should have pulled that up, Josh, and I didn't. But yeah, you're right. The rules, and let me see, what else do I have pulled up here? So Well, I had Card Ladder pulled up. Yeah, so we're good. The rules are crucial. I do discuss the rules in detail in that video that released on July 5th. So if you want to know why your favorite card's missing from tier 1 or why we're stupid, go read the rules. There's cards that were not eligible for tier 1 that would have unquestionably, I'm thinking game jersey autos, there's cards that would definitely belong in tier 1 that were not in tier 1 because of rules. And of course the masterpieces, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So that's a wrap, Josh. Anything else we left out? Anything you want to talk about? Let's get one last glimpse here of this tier. So people, take a picture of it, people, if you need it. Whoops, there it goes. Here it is. All right, here we go.
Yeah, obviously, if we missed anything on the list that is not prohibited by the rules, please let us know. We are not imperfect, right? We're not perfect. We could have made a mistake. We could have made an omission. We have tried very hard not to have that happen.
Yep.
So we've tried to make sure that all of the inserts, really all the way down, we're trying to make sure there's not duplicates as well as make sure there's no omissions. So if there's
no
something...
pool. It's not like
something obvious. Please highlight us and let us know, though. Because it's not baked in stone. So
that's right. It's not a zero-sum game. It's not like an NBA draft where there's a list of people that are eligible for the draft. Like we're just pull up Card Ladder and start regurgitating names and look through trading card database and look at other people's collections and we're like, what about this? What about this? What about this? And then deciphering what isn't an insert or a parallel, and then what doesn't break the rules. So a lot of work went into it, but I think it's going to be fun when we get to the end of it and everybody takes a step back and looks at the whole caption. So we shall see.
I'm excited.
Anything else, Josh? Anything else you want to add?
No, not right now. I'm excited to kind of go to tier 2 and kind of keep going, and it's like you said, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as we go down the path here.
That's it. It's a wrap. I appreciate you guys joining us. Josh, thanks for joining the show. We've got a bunch more of these to do. We'll knock them out. And you guys can probably expect to see these about every 3 or 4 days, maybe every 4 or 5 days, maybe even once a week, just depending on how accessible. Josh and I both have schedules. We both have full-time jobs. We both have wives. We both have kids, and we both want to buy Jordan cards. So talking about Jordan cards is like a distant seventh. But we love to do it. And so we're going to try to get maybe one of these out, maybe 1 a week, 2 a week, something like that. It's definitely going to take us past the National, Josh. We know that. There's no way we're getting through 350 cards before the National. Just we don't have the time. But we may take a little break for that. But trust me when I tell you, we are going to get closure on this. And Josh is going to be with me all along the way. I'm going to try to pull in some other guys just to get their thoughts on the same pictures. And we'll compare it. But Josh is definitely going to be my co-pilot for the vast majority of this. If you're not following Josh, by the way, or me, on Instagram, I'm at Cajun _cardboard. You can't miss it. Josh is at Northeast Sports Cards. And easy to follow. You can learn a ton just by following him, just by listening and being a fly on the wall like I am half the time. So, Josh, thanks again for joining. And I'm looking forward to tier 2, man. It's going to be awesome.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you guys for watching. Keep collecting. Stay positive in the hobby. Let me know in the comments what we miss. Peace.